and you just kind of relieve the stress across the board so you're not getting one in kind of an awkward position all at once. Here's another picture of the faceplate, which you can see, and that's kind of, yeah, again, you want to put that in first to line up the screws because you're going to have to do it all together with that. So here it's screwed in. You can see it's got the 3 SLI Extreme slots. You got the 2 PCI slots that are kind of in between the others. You've got that big, just to the south of that picture, the 6 o'clock position. Awesome, can use StarCraft terms here. 6 o'clock, that's where the chip's going to go in. At the 9 o'clock position, there's where the power supply is going to go in. Just to the north of that, to the right, those little 2 red things are where the SATA cables will plug in. Just below that is where all the RAM is. You do want to get, with DDR3, you want to make sure you get 3 different RAM sticks, because otherwise it's not going to utilize the stuff properly. DDR2, you want to fill in 2. Do not mix and match RAM. It's a bad idea, especially different speeds. That'll hurt your computer a lot. Anyway, getting to putting in the chip, there's me. You just pull out the little bracket. I actually like the way they're doing this now. You've got this little kind of cage. You move it back. You take out the thing that was kind of in there to keep everything covered. You'll notice that this is kind of where all the transistors are and whatnot. You noticed in the bottom left-hand corner, there's kind of, I think there's more of an angled gap there, if I recall. And what you want to do is it'll have an indicator on your motherboard, like this is where the triangle goes. On your chip, it'll have the little golden triangle, and that's, you just line the 2 up and slot it right in. Close the cage, and then put the fan on top. And as you can see, I didn't go with the Asus, I went with the Intel stock fan. If you're using different fan, oftentimes they'll come with grease, thermal grease. You want to apply the thermal grease before you put the fan on. You want to spread it out pretty evenly, not too thickly, because if it's too thick, it'll have problems. If it's too thin, it'll also have problems. Generally, you don't want, I think it's better to go thin rather than thick, though, with thermal grease. I think it's better to err on that side. So maybe some people disagree with me on that. But anyway, for an old school comparison, this is an AMD heatsink from 2003 comparatively, and you can see it's not that much bigger than my thumb. I'm not doing it justice in this picture, really. Just looking at the comparison, it's so much smaller than the heatsinks today. Here it is next to the Zalman, which you really can't even see how gargantuan it is or even how heavy it is in comparison. Yeah, it's absolutely insane the way technology is advanced and how much heat it generates now. It's also a lot easier to get these things on than the old ones. The old ones you really had to pry with a Phillips head, or with a flathead screwdriver. The new ones, it's pretty obvious and pretty easy to get in fact, I think you can just follow the directions right out of the box to get the fans on top of the chips, no problem. Anyway, now that I have the chip on, I'm going to put in the RAM. There's the Corsair RAM coming out of the box. You get the nice close-up view of it. Slotting everything in the appropriate slots on this motherboard. I believe it was into the orange slots. Then I put in the graphics card. Not putting in the sound card yet because I really didn't. Actually, I think I did put in the sound card. Not that I needed to. But yeah, plugged everything in. Then comes the fun part, which can be really annoying on certain motherboards, but was extremely easy with this one. Again, I like the way it's working. With your case, you'll have these jumpers that are coming out, these wires, and they'll say things like speaker and ground and +5 volt and PL. That's basically the electrical interface between the case, like basically your on button, your reset button, and the little light that lights up in the front of your case that goes into the motherboard so it can kind of react and whatnot. They actually had something where you can, it's kind of like a plug thing. I don't know what to call it otherwise, but this nice little holder where you can put all of them in outside the case and then just slot it all directly into the motherboard rather than having to bend over and put all those little teeny ones in individually on top of the motherboard. So it was a lot easier to do it that way. It was really nice. Anyway, then I slid it back in, plugged in the hard drives, everything, plugged in the power supply back in the appropriate places. It's pretty obvious because it's just kind of like Legos, where it's like, mix and match the things that actually match more or less. Make sure everything has power, obviously. Hard drives, yes, if they have SATA, easy to plug in. ID is a little bit more of a pain in the butt, which is why that might be a good reason to go with an SATA hard drive if you're switching hard drives, I guess. I don't think you even buy IDEs anymore, actually. But anyway, yeah, hard drives back in, power supply now knocked in, RAM's in place, the SLI chips in place. I actually hooked it up. Usually what you want to do is you'll not want to enable it or hook it up before doing it. I just got kind of or put your sound card in. Actually, I just got a little bit ambitious, put everything in. There's the jumpers where they're going to go in place, and you can see where it has the reset on the left and the IDE LED on the right. You can just line that up. You can also see the chassis fan slot right there, where you can kind of plug it in, and then everything went together and it actually booted up on the first time with absolutely no problems whatsoever. And here you can see me with a ton of stuff open that would have absolutely choked my old computer, and it's completely working, which is great. Thank you guys a ton. I'm going to be able to get a lot more accomplished with this all together, and I've just been really excited. I've had a couple of people ask, you know, oh, are you still taking donations? I'm still taking donations, I guess, but I don't know. I guess I'll leave it open, but I don't really need any more donations because I've got this working. This is almost most definitely going to work for StarCraft 2 and recording StarCraft 2 stuff, hopefully even in the beta, and it'll let me do a lot of other projects. And the commentaries have gone so much faster, including this one, and processing it and everything, so huge thanks. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'll try to respond as quickly as possible. And I think that's just about it. 2 good resources again, Tom's Hardware and Antech, andtech.com, and I think it's Raining Orcs will be in there in the upper right hand corner. I might throw in another game that Wilson made just for kicks. So thanks for listening, guys. Hope you guys